thank you everybody for coming back to the Riggs Beast channel. As always, let's go beast on that subscribe button. Let's go beast on that like button. And let's go beast on this WWE Payback review, which came to you from San Jose, California. So we're going to start with the pre-show. It was one match and a Miz TV segment. The one match, Enzo and Cass versus Gallows and Anderson. It was short, by the book. Enzo gets dominated, Cass saves. It ends with Enzo tagging himself in. He's about to eat a magic killer, big boot by Cass. Enzo rolls up Anderson. Enzo and Cass win. The only thing I could say is hopefully they go somewhere, and hopefully this is not more than just to get through the pre-match show. I have a feeling that's all that was. The Miz TV segment with Finn Balor, there's nothing really to this. It got the crowd going. It boiled down to Miz getting on Finn for being too small, started putting himself over. Finn states that he wants to go after his title, and then Finn takes down The Miz. When it comes to Finn versus Brock Lesnar, if the match ever happened, I would have to see them in the ring first. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Now, I was a big proponent of Lesnar versus Bryan. I'm not going to be hypocritical and say I definitely wouldn't go for this. I could in theory. I just have to see them in the ring together. Because Bryan was a little more thick than Finn Balor. Finn is really skinny. So I'm not totally against it. I don't think that's where they're going anyway. Since it came up, my answer to it, I just have to see what it would look like. So they're going to start the actual show with Owens and Jericho. Now this got the little wrestling antennas up. That they're going to start with this. And usually on a show when they start with a title match and a big match like this, a big baby versus a heel, normally the big baby face goes over, so I was a little bit okay. Thought Jericho was leaving. He still is leaving. They might actually have him win here. And now the announce team made this point midway through the match, but this match was quicker than the one at Mania, and honestly, it did it justice. The match at Mania was good. This one actually came off better. As soon as that point was made, it was like clockwork. It's almost like they planned this stuff out, guys. The match went slow. Owens slowed it down. Again, heel doing heel things, trying to get the crowd more into Jericho, get him off Owens, and they did a really good job. This crowd was about 90-10 Jericho. Towards the end, though, Owens is in the walls of Jericho. They go back to the one finger on the rope again. This makes Jericho flip. He works Owens outside. He gets Owens' hand in between the stairs and the ring. He kicks it, so Owens' hand and his finger are now hurt. Owens is going to get the advantage later. Go for the pop-up powerbomb. He's not going to be able to do it. Jericho gets him in the walls. Owens taps out. Chris Jericho regains the United States Championship. Now, this result doesn't upset me, doesn't do anything. Jericho does a SmackDown or two. He's going to lose the title fairly quickly. I'm disappointed they took the title off Owens, but I believe they're going to put it right back on him. The only reason I couldn't see them putting the title right back on Owens is either A, they do it with Baron Corbin, which keep that in mind. Baron Corbin, AJ Styles have a little thing going. Or Owens winds up back on Raw, but that wasn't discussed. My personal feeling, within a week or two, Owens regains the U.S. Championship. Next, we're going to go to Neville and Aries. The match is better than at Mania. I mentioned on my Mania review, they left something behind because they were on a pre-show, and they showed that they did. But the match was cut short, and they did a funky finish, but I agree with it, and here's what it was. Aries has Neville in the last chancery. Neville trying to get to the ropes. He can't get to the ropes. He keeps tugging on the ref. He throws the ref over him. It's a disqualification. Here's why you do something like that. They haven't done anything good with the Cruiserweight division in reality. So if you lose Austin Aries and Neville, what do you have right now? You don't have anybody lined up. You need to get Kalisto in the division, and we all know how I feel about Kalisto, but he does fit the Cruiserweight division perfectly. You need to get him in there. You need to get him quickly to the top, and then you can move on from Aries. So this is going to go a few more weeks with Aries, and then, my opinion, you're going to get Kalisto. And I think Kalisto's the guy who takes it off Neville. The finish was fine. I know it disappointed a lot of people. You're going to get these DQ finishes once in a while. When a division is treated poorly and doesn't have a lot of momentum and you have nobody else legitimate to challenge a champion, this is the kind of stuff you get. Hardys versus Sheamus and Cesaro. Back and forth, better than I expected, but because the result was so well known, it was hard to get into this match. End of the match. Swanton to Sheamus for the win. The biggest thing about this match was the Sheamus and Cesaro heel turn, and it was sorely needed. Now, it's a short-term Band-Aid. Here's why. The Revival's out till July, maybe August. You need a heel team. You need a legitimate heel team, and unfortunately, the way they booked the club, they're not it. You move Sheamus and Cesaro in that direction. What this allows, and in my opinion will do, is it will continue the Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro at least for a little bit. Enzo and Cass will be in the mix, but at least you have a heel team, and they got decent heat, and they can. Now, the one problem that may come from this is fans still may cheer them because of Cesaro, so you got to look out for that. But because it was on the Hardys, I think it's going to work out. They're going to get legitimate heat. I would continue this a few more weeks. They're not going to get the titles. The Hardys aren't dropping them. The team that's going to take them from the Hardys is the Revival. That's the perfect way to build the Revival as a very strong team. They're going to keep it until then, but this keeps story going. So kudos for the heel turn there. Even if it's a short-term fix, it was sorely needed. Alexa Bliss versus Bayley. First of the matches really that were interesting. Alexa is so good at being a bitch. I really hope she doesn't get lost in the Raw shuffle down the road. This is the note I made before the match, before it even started, and I wanted to point that out because when the Superstar Shakeup happened, my concern was that Alexa Bliss would get lost in the shuffle. Now, to the match. Very solid. In fact, to me, it's the match of the night, was these two ladies. It was better than Rollins and Joe. It was better than the House of Horrors. We'll get into that. And it was better than Braun and Roman because Braun and Roman was short. So Alexa and Bayley win match of the night. Great job. A tremendous match. It was back and forth. Nice mix-ups. Nobody had too long of an advantage. There were great 2 counts. Bayley actually gets the macho elbow that won her the match at Mania, but only gets a 2 count here. And it was a late kick out, too. It actually got me for a second. I will admit that. It only usually get me with the 2 counts. Alexa got me with hers. Bayley also showed aggression in this match, which was great. She wasn't laid back with it. She actually looked like she wanted it in this match, and it was put out there in the way they formulated this. So that's part of the reason this came off so well. Bayley actually looked aggressive along with Alexa. You knew it meant something. They portrayed that it mattered. The end. Bayley goes for a roll-up. Alexa kicks out, but it puts Bayley into the post. Bayley's a little woozy, but she gets a second roll-up. It's a 2 count. She then goes for a third roll-up. It's counted into a DDT. 1, 2, 3. Alexa Bliss is the Raw Women's Championship. And they're also portraying her as the first ever woman to win the SmackDown and Raw Women's titles, giving her some history. I put that in quotations. Now, the positive of this, and I felt this was the best result. The reason this was the best result, number one, it gives Bayley and Alexa longer feuds something to do. It holds off the Sasha heel turn until a bigger time, probably around SummerSlam like everybody's looking at. You keep Alexa in the forefront and you give her instant credibility. So when the time comes that she's not in the championship scene, she now has credibility. It was a clean win, no shenanigans, no BS, clean 1, 2, 3. You instantly make her look strong. This was what I was afraid of them not doing. So I admit I was wrong about Raw with Alexa. I retract it. Very good job. I hope they keep it up. Don't make this quick. Keep her in the forefront because honestly, she is the absolute best heel woman on the roster. She's better than Charlotte at being a heel. Her promos come off better. Honestly, a lot of her ring maneuvers and her ring savvy comes off better than Charlotte. Alexa, number 1 heel in the company in my eyes right now when it comes to the women. Great job. Best decision, best match of the night. And then we get to the House of Horrors. Y'all know how I feel, so I'm not going to go into it too much. Randy pulls up to the house in a limo. He gets out, he looks around, and a tractor is driving itself. If you like mid-level budget horror movies, this first part of the pre-tape match was for you. If you don't, you probably got up and walked away. Honestly, in my eyes, I've never seen the pre-tape to live stuff ever really work. It always comes off just weird. And this was no exception. It came off odd. Now, it had some cool moments. They had hanging babies in the one room, the evil stroller. It had some decent stuff, but it still just came off not right. I feel like this is the second or third time they have tried to copy the final deletion to a degree, and it didn't work. To end the house part of the match, they work into the kitchen. Bray's going to toss a refrigerator onto Randy or push it down. The only complaint I have about the editing of this is you can tell they didn't edit this out right. You could tell when it fell, it didn't fall on Randy. They could have taken a different shot, but clearly it showed clip, one there, one not. I'm going to throw that out there. I know it's nitpicking, but you could do a better job than that. It wasn't that long. So Bray, though, he's going to walk out of the house. He's going to go on his knees. He's going to do follow the buzzards. The house turns red. I kind of like that. He gets in Randy's limo, tells him to drive to the arena. As he sings, he's got the whole world in his hands. Keep this in mind as we go on to the next match. There was only one car, was the limo. Nothing else was there. Keep that in mind. Next, Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe. Here we go. It was another good match. This, I will say this about this pay-per-view, for as bad as the build was, and as honestly lackadaisical as the anticipation was, WWE usually do this. The lack of anticipation for a pay-per-view usually turns into a good pay-per-view. This was actually pretty good. They did a lot of stuff, though, Rollins and Joe, that they've done on the indies. They've done in ROH. If you've seen those matches, you've seen most of this. Highlights, though, was a great Falcon Arrow on Samoa Joe by Seth Rollins. He made it look really good. It's hard for that move to be done on a 275-pound guy. Give Seth a lot of credit. Joe's going to get this Georgina clutch, though. Seth uses the ropes a la Bret Hart and Steve Austin. Joe's able to get out at a 2 count. He goes for a second Georgina clutch. As Seth is going to the ground, he's going to do a fireman's carry while Joe held on to the move. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins wins, gets out of the ring, and that's it. Now, I was very adamant, and I still am adamant. Joe needed a resounding victory, and he needed to dominate because of the way they have positioned Joe's character up to Mania, after debut, and post-Mania. But I didn't want to go nuts when I saw this. I wanted to sit back. I wanted to drink it in because I knew the end of the House of Horrors was coming, and they killed that. So I took a little bit of brain off there. And this is the conclusion I came to. Yes, they didn't make Joe look bad in the loss because Seth just got lucky and he wouldn't let go of the hold. But this goes back to the same problem I discussed weeks ago. Joe never looks dominant. Only in one match with Sami Zayn did he look dominant. So therefore, you don't take him as a Braun Strowman type. You don't look at him like Strowman. I don't think they need to carbon copy Strowman to Joe. You don't need that. Joe does have an established fan base. It might not be large as people think. It's really not. But he has an established fan base, and he's better overall. He's better all around than Strowman is. But once again, you leave a match with Joe feeling, well, he's talk, and then in the ring, it doesn't back it up. Now, he's not at Bray Wyatt level, and I love Bray, but he's not the Eater of L's or anything like that. Now, but can you not see a little bit of a parallel, the way they're booking Joe to the way they booked Bray early? That's my fear. That's what I get off Joe right now, early Bray. So I'm going to keep bringing this up until it changes or he becomes Bray Wyatt. Speaking of Bray Wyatt, the limo arrives from the House of Horrors match. It's glad that you could take a limo from hell. Just think about that. He gets out of the limo, he's staggering around, he enters the arena, does his entrance. Now, I do want to say, if you've ever taken an Uber, they can be quick. But you remember when I talked about how there's only one car, and Bray left, and Randy was under a refrigerator, quote unquote? Well, when Bray was finished with his entrance and the lights came on, Randy is right behind him. He's right behind him. He's A-OK, ready to go. So not only did he recover with Super Saiyan-like sorcery, but he got an Uber or a taxi immediately to the middle of nowhere and got to the arena. Wrestling how I love you. Wrestling how I love you. All of that aside, all of it. They fight for about 3 minutes. Randy hits an RKO. Here come the Singh brothers. Or the Bollywood boys. He gets rid of them. And then here comes Jinder Mahal. Hits him with the belt. Bray gets Sister Abigail. Bray wins the match like he needed to. But what did you accomplish? This is what I talk about with now titling Bray the Eater of L's. He felt like he lost this match when he won because he looked defeated twice. Defeated. And he got saved by a jobber posing as a number one contender. It was a faint chant of USA, by the way. No real boos, no hatred, a faint USA chant. Tiger Ali Singh screwed Randy Orton to put over a SmackDown Live title match for Backlash. In the meantime, Bray gets nothing from this. You get, hey, you won a match. He gets nothing. And that's a major disappointment. He needed this win straight up. It didn't need to happen like this. Does nothing for Bray. Jinder is a 3-month project. That's it. But we're going to get to the main event, which honestly, if you stayed for Raw Talk for 2 minutes, you got the laugh of a lifetime. But let's get to the match first. Roman is a quarter mummy with the ace bandage selling. Quarter mummy. It's quick offense by Roman, but Strowman's going to get a chokeslam on the announce table. Roman got his Superman characteristics in. 2 Superman punches, a spear. He kicked out of 1 running power slam. He didn't kick out of the second. Braun wins the match. Braun, after the match, gets the steel steps from the outside, comes in the ring, and slams the steps into Roman's chest. After a cutaway with the camera, they come back, must have been a blood capsule. Roman's spitting up blood. That's your main event. That's your show. Goes off the air as he's walking up, and he's kind of by the announce table refusing medical attention. But, like I said, if you stayed for Raw Talk, Roman is walking towards the ambulance. He's leaning on the ambulance about to get in. You hear Braun, "I'm not finished with you yet." And he runs right at Roman. Roman moves. Braun then runs right through the ambulance door like it wasn't there, right into boxes. Honestly, go back and watch this over and over. This is a meme. It's 11:19 p.m. Eastern as I'm recording this. This is a meme already. Guaranteed. This is a meme, and it's hilarious. But that was Payback. Payback overall was a 6.5 out of 10. Good wrestling. Low expectation probably inflated the score a little bit. Bray Wyatt, nothing's changed. He got a win, but the way he got it does nothing. This is one of those cases where somebody absolutely needed a clean win. Samoa Joe, it's trending bad. But the way they did it, I have to sit back. Kevin Owens losing the U.S. title, I'm not too worried about that. I'm really not. I don't even think it's bad. I think Jericho winning if he drops it quick, hell, you gave the fans a swerve. Nobody really expected it. So nice little tickle from the WWE to everybody. But folks, I want you to hit me back in the comments. I want you to tell me what you thought of Payback. Hit me back on Twitter at @TheRigsBeast, where I live tweet during all events. Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views. If I can get enough of you going with me, I'll start NXT. We'll do more and we'll grow. But, as always, thank you for coming back to the Rigs Beast channel. Let's go beast on that subscribe button. Let's go beast on that like button. In fact, let's go Braun Strowman on that subscribe button. Let's go Braun Strowman on that like button. And as always, guys, keep it beast.